Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to continue comparing iOS 5 to Windows Phone 7 Mango and Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich. In this comparison, we're going to cover battery or battery life. Now, as far as these videos go, these are more to inform you, the viewer, of what phone might work best for you based on your situation. Some of the phones have more options, some have less, as you might expect, and we're going to compare them in that sense. So this isn't more about which one I think is best, it's more about which one would work best for you. So we're going to go over each phone individually. So here we have iOS 5 on iPhone 4S, we have Windows Phone 7 Mango on the HTC Titan, and we have Android 4.0 on the Galaxy Nexus. So let's go ahead and start with the iPhone. We'll move these out of the way, zoom in a little bit to help us out here so you can see a little bit better. There we go. And we'll unlock the phone. And the white balance there will adjust a little bit. And here you can see the phone has your normal grid icons, things like that. But one thing that we need to manage is battery. And so you'd think you'd go into settings and you'd see a lot of options for battery, but there really isn't too many options. It tries to manage it on its own, so you don't have to think about it. Now that works for the most part, and I get an easy full day's use out of the phone without charging it. So my day starts at about 9 a.m. I'll unplug the phone from the charger, check some email, things like that. And throughout the day, my phone is checking 5 email accounts or so, maybe more. It depends on if I've added more or not. But generally 5 email accounts, anywhere from 15 minutes or push email, 15 minutes to 1 hour, depending on which account it is and how often I get email. And with that, it uses data and battery life, and I'm generally on Wi-Fi, and you can see I'm on Wi-Fi up here. And Wi-Fi helps with battery life, not having to use the cell towers and basically use your battery more than you would want it to. So here we have a couple different options. We have brightness down here, which does affect battery life quite a bit. We can adjust that or have it auto adjusted. I leave it on auto. We can have Wi-Fi on or off. We can have notifications, which notifications will use some battery, but not a ton. Location services will use a lot more battery, but if you turn those off, what happens if you're using something like Find My iPhone, you won't be able to have it find your iPhone because it can't access the GPS antenna and locate where you are. So there's advantages and disadvantages to turning these things off. And that's really it as far as the settings go. We can adjust, I think it's under, I don't remember exactly where it is, but there is a battery percentage we can turn on in the upper right. And I don't remember exactly where it is, but you can turn it on and off. And that's really it. There aren't a whole lot of options as far as the iPhone goes in battery life. There's always apps you can use that will help you better manage your battery life, but there isn't a whole lot of settings. Now, like I said, it will easily get me through a full day. And that means start at 9 a.m. And you see I record videos pretty late sometimes. And that means maybe 2, 3 in the morning, I still don't need to plug it in yet. It may be pretty low, but in the times that I do play a lot of games, things like that, it will suck the battery down a lot quicker than that. Let's go on and take a look at the Titan. Now the Titan's running Windows Phone 7 Mango. We'll go ahead and unlock it. And I have basically the same emails and things set up on here that I do on iOS. Same for all the phones really. And there isn't a whole lot of battery management here, but they do include something in the settings. We'll go to the settings quickly here. There is something in the settings that will help us out, and down here it's battery saver. And what battery saver does is turn things off. Let me just read this quick. It says your phone can turn off some services to help you preserve your battery. For example, you won't automatically receive email and apps won't run in the background. You can still use your phone, send and receive text messages, and get your email manually. So you have those options, and what it does is we can always turn on battery saver when the battery's low, or we can turn on battery saver now until the next charge, and once we unplug it, after it's charged, it will shut the battery saver off. So really nice options, and it basically doesn't allow it to fetch email. Instead, you go into email and you hit the little refresh button, and then it will fetch it. So it will save you some battery there. And down here at the bottom, we have remaining battery life, 71%, for an estimated time of 14 hours. So overall, pretty good. And it says time since last charge, 4 days, 4 hours. And that's mostly because I switch phones a lot, and this one hasn't been on. So let's go ahead and go back home and move over to the Galaxy Nexus. Now, the Galaxy Nexus being Android, you would expect might have a little more customization or give you some more information about the battery. Now, I forgot to mention that this phone and this phone both have replaceable batteries. So should you find yourself in an area where you're using more and more battery, you can simply remove the battery and put a different one in, or buy external battery packs that you can find pretty readily available online. Let's go into the settings. Now in settings, we have a lot of different information, but we're interested in battery. So let's go to battery. In battery, you can see, it gives us a graph. It says we've got 30% remaining. You can see how many days we've been on battery. 1 day, 3 hours, 55 minutes, 43 seconds. Now, a lot of that's been in standby. That isn't me using the phone completely. I get the same battery life on this as I do roughly the iPhone at this point, unless I'm on 4G and using a lot of data bandwidth off of LTE. So it really depends. I get a full day out of this phone as well. I would say it's somewhere in between the iPhone and the Titan. And that's pretty good, I think, as far as battery. Plug it in once a night and you're good to go. So you can see what's actually using battery here. If we go back, we can see that Android is using 45% of the battery, where I'd thought maybe it'd be more screen, but apparently not. So you can see CPU total, keep awake, things like that, battery used by app. And we have phone idle, screen, cell standby. In cell standby, you can see it's on battery. Or on standby for 1 day, 3 hours, 53 minutes, 37 seconds, and it kept its signal 100% of the time because this says 0%. So it's really nice, and it's showing you different services running. And one of the things it also shows here under Wi-Fi is turn off Wi-Fi when not using it or when it isn't available. So if you're on it, it will save you battery life generally. If you're not on it, it will not save you battery life because it will be seeking for other Wi-Fi signals, and that actually takes a lot of battery. But we can turn off things like Bluetooth, and this basically breaks everything down. Here's screen, and we can change the brightness. So this breaks everything down, shows you what's being used, and gives you the option or an easy link to change it. Now, what I would suggest, though, on any of these phones, if you're really serious about managing battery, is there's apps that will show you similar information to this and help you better manage your battery if you're a really heavy battery user on these phones, or really heavy user. If you're talking on them, you're generally going to be able to use them for a good amount of time. If you're talking on them, checking emails like I do, occasionally looking at news like Pulse or Fuse on the Windows Phone 7, if you're using it for that, easily you'll get a day out of each of these. Some things like this live background on the Android phone will suck up some more battery because it uses more CPU to do it. And you can change that. So it's really up to you what you want to do. This phone is obviously the easiest or most customizable as far as the battery goes. Let me go ahead and slide them all in here. All of them are great phones, and it's really up to you which one you want to go with. Overall, on different devices, you'll find different battery life. Windows Phone 7 is pretty consistent across all of their phones as far as life goes. So is Windows or iOS. Galaxy varies differently depending on screen size and type of phone and which version of the operating system. I think Android 4.0 really made some good strides to improve battery life. So once everyone gets this update, or if you have a Galaxy Nexus or a Nexus S, you're really not going to have any issues there. So overall, they're all great phones. Now it's really up to you to decide which one you'd like. If you have any secrets or tips that you want to mention about any of these phones or applications you use, please go ahead and place those in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.